It was an early Saturday morning in the Brady household and the kids and Carol were still asleep. Mike tiptoed across the living room and made his move into the kitchen. "Pretty early to be up on a Saturday, isn't it, Mr. Brady?" The voice startled him, causing him to jump a bit. He turned around. "Oh, hey Alice," he said with a smile. "What are you doing up so early?" Alice asked, cleaning the countertop. "Well, I'm picking up my nephew from the airport. His flight is landing in 20 minutes and I got to get there to pick him up." "Your nephew," Alice said, with an emphasis on nephew. "Well, Mr. Brady, why haven't you notified me? Or wait, am I the only one who knows?" she asked suspiciously. Mike laughed. "You caught me, Alice," he deadpanned. No, Carol knows too. My brother Mark wouldn't let his son stay here without her permission, as if he doesn't trust me." Mark, oh, Alex. I remember now. Yes, Alex is his son's name. Right, my brother and his wife are going on a year-long trip to Australia. Alex couldn't attend. So why not stay with the most trustworthy brother he has, his only one? Plus, Mark thought it would be good for 6 kids to hang out with, especially considering that he has changed a bit. Mike looked at his watch. "I've got to go. I'll be back in time for breakfast." Mike, returning from the airport to pick up his nephew, drove up the driveway to the carport. He stepped out of the driver's seat and Alex stepped out of the passenger seat looking up at the house. "Still looks the same," he said with a smile. "Yep, the old homestead," Mike proclaimed proudly. "Well, I'm going to get the boys, they'll be excited to see you." Stopping at the patio, he turned to his nephew. "Are you sure you still want to go in this way?" "Uh-huh, I want to get this over with as quickly as possible," Alex replied. "You're the boss," Mike agreed with a reassuring squeeze on his nephew's slight shoulder. The glass doors to the kitchen slid open with a swoosh. "Boys," Mike said, getting their attention. Everyone was finishing up their breakfast. "Yeah, Dad?" Greg asked. "Come out here, I've got a surprise for you," Mike replied with a grin as he walked back outside and waited for the boys to follow. The boys looked at each other, wondering what it could be. They sat up and walked out the door. They buzzed each other with questions. "What do you think it is? What's so important? Is it something big? Is it something for all of us?" When the boys approached the driveway and they saw their cousin Alex there, they were all in disbelief. "Well?" Mike asked. "Aren't you going to greet your cousin?" Peter's face wrinkled quizzically. "You mean, it's Dash?" He looked up at his father, who nodded his response. "It's you, it's really you?" "It's really me," Alex answered. Alex stood before the boys dressed in a pink floral mini dress and pink platform heels. With his straight blonde hair, he was almost a dead ringer for January. He walked up to Peter and gave him a hug. "And how are you, Greg?" he asked with grin. Greg stood motionless, unable to speak. "Greg?" Mike nudged his oldest son, snapping him out of his temporary stupor. Oh, yeah, hi Alex." He finally answered with a nervous chuckle. "I'm good." "You look good." "I mean pretty?" Dash." He was cut off with a strong hug that almost took his breath away. "Greg, you always had a way with words," Alex joked. The boys joined his laughter. Everybody looked at Bobby as he studied his cousin, and then a smile painted across his face. Alex again broke the uncomfortable silence. "Aw, Bobby, you're as cute as ever," he exclaimed as he leaned in and gave his little cousin a kiss on his red cheek. "So, Alex, what brings you back to Clinton Way?" asked Greg, trying to avoid the obvious. "Yeah," Peter added. Did you come to visit or something? You bonehead, Greg chided. Of course he's here for a visit. Alex grinned. A little more than a visit. Kids, Mike began. He put a hand on his nephew's shoulder. Your Uncle Mark and Aunt Kathy are on a trip to Australia for a year, so Alex will be staying with us during that time, the boys hollered and cheered. Alex was their favorite cousin, and regardless of the way he stood before them now, their true emotions overrode any confusion they felt. Hey! Carol came out saying. What's all the oh? You must be Alex. Hi, I'm Carol. It's so nice to meet you. Giving her husband a quizzical look. Likewise, Mrs. Brady, Alex replied. Oh, please, call me Carol, Mrs. Brady said with an embarrassed chuckle. Okay, well, boys, could you help Alex move her luggage into the attic? Mike asked his 3 boys. They all were more than happy to help their cousin move in. Each Brady boy grabbed a suitcase. Carol marveled at the boys' enthusiasm. My, well, look at my young gentleman. I'm sure glad that chivalry isn't dead. It's never dead, Mrs. Brady. It just goes on vacation every once in a while, Alex joked. They all laughed. I told you, call me Carol. Oops. Sorry, Carol. Carol liked her new nephew. She was still unsure why he was dressed as a she, but Mike would have a good explanation. Besides, at least he was a neat and clean she. And pretty too. Alice suddenly appeared from the laundry room. Was that Alex I heard, Mrs. Brady? Yes, it was, Alice. She just went upstairs with the boys to unpack. Don't you mean he went upstairs? You be the judge, Carol replied and left the kitchen to join the boys. Alice stood there thinking. Now what do you suppose she meant by that? The Brady Bunch will return right after this word from our sponsor. Carol joined everyone in the attic. Alex made a brief inspection of his new living quarters, his heels clicking loudly on the bare wood floorboards. So do you need help unpacking? Greg asked. Alex started. Yes, he will, Mike answered. But right now, we got to introduce her to your sisters, hustle your bustles. The boys exchanged humorous looks. Hustle your bustles? Greg repeated. Is it me, or is Dad getting cornier every year? Maybe he's having a midlife crisis, Peter laughed. I'll give you a midlife crisis if you don't get going. Now get out of here, all of you. The boys ran down the attic steps giggling, with Alex trailing behind. He smiled to Mike with an exaggerated shrug and joined his cousins. And be nice to your sisters, Mike added. Carol laughed and put her arm around her husband's waist. Oh, Mike, they're just excited to see their cousin. I don't think I've ever seen them so happy to see someone. I was thinking the same thing. But they were always so close when they were younger. It's a shame we fell out of touch for so long. Mike, can I ask you something? Sure, honey. How long has your nephew been dressing like that? Mike nodded. Of course he expected this question. He just didn't have time to explain it yet. My brother told me that it's been about 3 months now. Though, how long he's been dressing like that privately he has no idea. He looks like he's been doing it for a while, if you ask me. I mean, if you didn't tell me that he was your nephew, I would have thought he was a girl for sure. With that cute little dress and blonde hair, he could be Jan's twin. I know, Mike agreed. But it's the same Alex that me and the boys know and love. Mark said that he just came to him one day and explained that he just felt a compulsion to present himself that way and that he didn't want to hide anymore. He paused for a moment. It doesn't bother you, does it? Mike Brady, you know me better than that. Oh, I know. I didn't mean it like that. It's just that Alex is only 15 and it's a really important time in his life. I just want to make him feel comfortable. But I also want to make sure you and the kids are comfortable as well. Alex is a good kid, and if that's how he wants to express himself, then I'll support him. We will support him, Carol corrected. It must have taken a lot of courage to face his family with something that he wasn't sure they would accept. I think it's wonderful. They embraced. That's my girl, I knew you would be understanding. Mike and Carol exited the attic and turned the corner into the girls' bedroom. Jan and Cindy were sitting at one of the beds reading Teen Time magazine. Marcia was standing at her dresser combing her hair. Hi girls, did you see your brothers yet? Carol asked. No, Dad. Not since breakfast, Jan replied. That's good for us. Marcia added. They're probably up to no good as usual. Mike spoke up. Well, I wanted them to introduce my nephew to you all. He's going to be staying with us while his parents are overseas. Cindy sat up. Really? That's great. Jan added. He's here now? Where is he? Marcia asked. I thought the boys would have introduced him to you by now. They must have got lost in the kitchen on the way to your room, if I know them. They all laughed. It's just as well, I was meaning to talk to you first anyway. My nephew's name is Alex, and when you see him you're going to notice something different about him. Like what, Dad? Marcia asked. Well, he likes to dress like you. I mean, he likes to dress like a girl. In fact, he's dressed like that now. It's just something that he enjoys, he doesn't mean any harm. The girls listened with curiosity as Carol continued, it's important that we accept Alex the way he is. What he wears on the outside doesn't change how he is on the inside. Your mother's right. And while he's with us he's one of the family. Capiche? Yes, Dad, the girls replied in unison. Just then the boys entered the bedroom. Perfect timing. I was beginning to think you got lost. Alex? Alex squeezed his way between Bobby and Peter and stood before the girls, nervously twisting one leg. I was explaining to the girls why you are here with us today, Mike said to Alex. And they would be more than happy to get to know you. So Alex, this is Marcia, Jan and Cindy. Hi, Alex greeted with a slight wave. The girls exchanged confused glances. He was much prettier than they expected and he could pass for one of their sisters. Marcia broke the silence first. So, Alex, where do you live? Alex didn't pay too much attention to the question. Back east, you know, she pointed her finger to the east. You know, that way, but what state? Jan asked. I'm from New York, you know, back east, Marcia, Jan and Cindy laughed. Yes, you said that already, commented Marcia. Why do you dress like a girl? Asked Cindy. Cindy! Marcia and Jan cried in unison. No, it's okay. I guess I just think girls' clothes are more fun to wear. Alex replied. I know, I'm different, I guess I think you look great, said January, your dress is so pretty. And I love your makeup. Marcia added. Me too, squealed Cindy. Alex blushed and combed a strand of hair behind his ear. Thank you, that's so nice of all of you to say. Greg chimed in, okay, enough of this girl talk. Come on Alex, let's get you unpacked and then we can go to the park to toss the ball around. Alex nodded, oh, I'm sorry but I promised my cousins that I would hang out with them today. It was really nice to meet you. Likewise, said Marcia. Her sisters agreed. As Alex left the room, Jan whispered to Marcia. That's a great idea, Jan. Hey, Alex? Marcia called. Alex turned. Oh? Yeah? We were going to the ice cream parlor tomorrow and we were wondering if you'd like to come? Alex's face brightened up. Really? Do you think it would be okay? Well, sure, you're going to be here for a while, and since we're going to school together this year, I thought we'd get to know each other better. The sisters all nodded in agreement. I would love to, thanks. Okay. It's a date then. Alex retreated to his room to join the boys who were sitting on his bed, waiting. You guys really don't have to help me unpack, it's no problem, we don't mind, said Greg. Speak for yourself, replied Bobby, receiving a prompt smack in the face with a pillow. Alex laughed. No, really, I'll take care of it all. Why don't you guys get the stuff together for the park and I'll meet you in about a half hour. Deal? Sounds like a good idea to me. Bobby said as he jumped off the bed and ran down the small flight of steps. Well, I guess that's your answer, Greg chuckled. Come on, Pete, let's get our gear. The boys left Alex on his own for the first time today. He began to unpack his clothes, then hesitated and placed them back into the suitcase, and moved it to the floor. He sat on the bed, smoothing out his dress over his thighs and slipped off his heels. Taking a deep breath, he stood up and walked toward the full-length mirror. A pretty young girl looked back at him and he smiled. Well, Alex, I think this is going to work out just fine. The Brady bunch will return after these messages. Later on that day, Alice called everyone to dinner. Everyone gathered around the crowded dining room table. So, Alex, Peter started. Want to play some basketball tomorrow with me and a few of my friends? I can introduce you to a lot of people before school starts so you won't have to feel you don't know anyone. Before Alex could reply, Marcia said, Sorry, little brother, but Alex is coming with me and the girls tomorrow to the ice cream parlor. Says who? Asked Peter. Says us, replied January. We already invited him. Peter's questioning eyes turned to Alex. Well, Alex began. They kind of did invite me first, and I did kind of say yes. Oh, Peter said, a bit disappointed. Alex saw that Peter was sad. After all, the boys were all like brothers to him. And they haven't seen him in a few years, and just wanted to hang out. Maybe we can play afterwards? Thanks, Peter said, still sounding disappointed. But my friends can't come over before 2 o'clock and they can't come after 4 o'clock. Well, Alex was thinking of a time that he could fit both the ice cream parlor with the girls and play some ball with Peter. Then he got an idea. Well, maybe just us 4 can play, you and me versus Greg and Bobby. That sounds like a pretty good idea, said Greg. You up for it, Bobby? Sure. Bobby replied excitedly. What do you say, Pete? Peter thought for a moment, then he smiled. All right, that sounds like a terrific idea. Good, said Alex. He turned to Bobby, and we're gonna cream you guys. Oh yeah? Bobby teased. Yeah. Alex teased back. Bobby could only stick his tongue out in response. They all laughed. Okay, that's enough. Now eat your dinner, Carol said between her own chuckling. Later that evening, the kids were all getting ready for bed. Marcia was in the bathroom brushing her teeth. Peter came in. Oh, he said. Hi, Marcia. She spit out her toothpaste and rinsed. Hi, she replied. Listen, I don't think I really like the fact of you trying to take away my time to spend with my cousin. What? Marcia was a bit confused. Inviting him to the ice cream parlor. Peter, I was trying to be nice and trying to get to know him a little bit better, and he's my cousin now too, you know. Besides, I think he could use some help, being in an unfamiliar place and all. Yeah, for only like what, 14 hours? Marcia started getting annoyed with him. I don't really like your attitude right now, you're just jealous that Alex is spending time with someone other than you, she stormed out of the bathroom. Oh yeah, he shouted back. Well, he's not really your cousin anyway. Peter stormed out of the bathroom and climbed on top of his bunk and laid on his bed. Maybe she's right, Peter thought. He can't just hang out with me, Greg and Bobby all our lives. He's going to be living with them, he should get to know them. Anyway, he might feel a little more comfortable around girls right now. What a dumbhead I am, said Peter to himself. I should apologize. The next morning Alex was still asleep in his bed in the attic. Jan and Marcia went up to get him ready for breakfast. Alex! Marcia whispered. Alex, wake up. Still no movement. Alex, she said again. Alex! Wake up, she said louder. Your breakfast is getting cold. Cold? I thought it was cereal, said January. Oh yeah. Alex, your breakfast is getting soggy. Marcia said, correcting herself. Alex did not move from his bed. Jan picked up one of Alex's shoes and threw it at him. Ow! Alex yelled, rubbing his head, and sat up, seeing the two girls standing at the foot of his bed, giggling. What did you have to do that for? As he pushed the shoe off the bed and tossed the covers off. To get you up for breakfast, Jan replied. She couldn't help noticing the cute sunflower baby doll nightie he was wearing. Couldn't you have let the alarm clock wake me up? Alex asked as the numbers on the clock changed from 8:59 a.m. to 9 a.m. It began to buzz and Alex shut it off. Oh, oops, Jan said with a silly smirk on her face. Well, get down to the table, your breakfast is waiting, Marcia said. The two walked back to the kitchen. Alex sat up from his bed, he stretched and yawned. What to wear today? Dressy? Casual? He walked to the makeshift closet at the far end of the room and shifted the garments across the thin metal rod that supported the hangers. Moments later, Alex walked down the stairs and joined the family at the small kitchen table, dressed in an apricot turtleneck and a black and white checkered miniskirt. The girls marveled at Alex's outfit. Wow, don't you look groovy? Marcia exclaimed. Yeah, Jan added, I love your sandals. So, said Carol, starting out the morning conversation. You girls going to the ice cream parlor today? As if she wasn't there for last night's dinner discussion. She included me as one of the girls, Alex observed. It made him feel warm, he was almost blushing. No one ever referred to him as one of the girls before. Yeah, after lunch, replied Marcia. I've invited some people from school for Alex to meet too, Jan added. So when he comes to school with Pete and me on Monday, he'll already know some kids. That's a wonderful idea, Jan, said Carol. Alex jumped from her seat. Oops, I almost forgot my pocketbook. I really need to get used to carrying that thing. He smiled to the girls and ran back to the attic, passing Peter on the steps. Hey, Pete. I'll be right back. Peter walked to the kitchen, he wasn't quite sure what to say. Hey, Marcia? Marcia turned around and saw her younger brother standing there. He stood quite awkwardly, his body was tense and straight, his hands were stuffed in his pockets. She knew he was about to do something that would put him in such an awkward position. Yes, Peter? She asked, still a bit angry with him. I was wondering, if I could go to the ice cream parlor with you guys. Why? So you can try to convince Alex that we're horrible horrible sisters of yours? No, Marcia, that's not it. I would never call you girls horrible sisters. Then would you mind explaining to me what it is? I feel bad for going and accusing that you were trying to have Alex all to yourself, so I thought I'd buy you guys a round of ice cream. You know, my treat, Aw Pete, Marcia said, feeling a bit bad for getting so angry at him for something silly like that. You don't have to buy us a round of ice cream. But you can come and help Jan introduce some of your friends to Alex, Peter smiled. All right. Sounds great. Later that day, Mike pulled up to the ice cream parlor and watched the girls and his nephew exit the station wagon. I'll be back to pick you up in a couple of hours, okay? Mike asked. Okay, thanks Dad, replied Marcia. Have fun girls, he shouted back with a wave and drove off. What am I, invisible? Peter replied to no one in particular. There it was again, Alex thought. I'm one of the girls. This is so cool. So what are we going to do for 2 hours? Alex asked. Well, eat ice cream and talk, replied Marcia. Talk, for 2 hours? Alex couldn't believe anyone could just talk that long. Maybe with his cousins, but he's just shy around new people. Yeah, it'll be fun, come on, said Jan as they entered the parlor. They've got the best ice cream here too, Peter added. I remember when either my dad or your dad would take us here when we were really little. Alex said as his face brightened and grinned. We had so much fun together, yeah, Peter replied with a grin. It was a blast, the pool, the ice cream parlor, the carnival, then his grin turned to a frown. I'm gonna miss you when you leave, Alex hooked his arm with Peter's. Hey Pete, I just got here yesterday. Why are you thinking about me leaving already? We'll do all that before I leave, we'll have a blast, don't you worry, Peter smiled again. Yeah, he said. Yeah, I guess you're right, Jan rushed over to Alex and Peter with a new girl. Alex, Peter, Jan began. This is my new friend Rachel Palmer, she just moved here from Iowa a week ago. Her family just settled and so she'll be starting school the same time you are, Alex smiled. Fantastic, so you're a newbie too, huh? Yeah, she replied shyly. Jan was going to show me around the school, she told me about you, saying we could become friends, and not being the only new kid. I know what you mean, we're very lucky to have 2 awesome kids like Jan and Peter to show us around, said Alex. Yeah, they're really groovy. Rachel said. I love your skirt. I have one like it, except it's yellow and black. Alex blushed and playfully performed a model's pose. What, this old thing? Just something I threw together. They giggled together, feeling an instant connection. Look Cindy, Marcia said pointing over to Alex. He's making friends already, by the time he goes to school on Monday, he'll know every kid in the whole school. That'll be more people than I know, Cindy added. And I've lived here my whole life. It was Monday. At Fillmore Junior High, Peter and Jan sit with each other at lunch, and they look over each other's schedules. Oh look, said January, we have English together, I can't wait to hear what Alex's schedule is, said Peter. Yeah, Jan adds. I wonder how he's doing, you know, Jan, we should probably get used to referring to Alex as she. At least while we're at school. I don't want to spill the beans and give up her secret. You're right, Pete. That would be just awful. At this moment Rachel Palmer walks up. She's dressed in her favorite outfit, a print blouse under a powder blue pinafore. Her dark brown hair is cut in a pageboy style. Hey you guys, mind if I join you? No, said Peter. Not at all, Jan added. Rachel sits down next to Peter. Say, where is that cousin of yours? She asked. She'll be here tomorrow. She had some more stuff to clear up before she could start at our school, replied Peter. Aw, I'm sorry to hear that, Rachel said. I can't wait to see her again. She's so much fun. Just then a guy walked over and nudged Peter's shoulder. What are you doing sitting with my girlfriend? What? Asked Peter confusingly. Rachel. You're sitting with my girl, he said. Stop it, Jason, said Rachel. He's just a friend, whatever, he sneered. But if I catch him with you again, don't be too angry if I smash his teeth in. Then he walked away. Rachel rolled her eyes. I'm so sorry about that. I've only been with him for 4 days and he's already overprotective. Then why are you still with him? Asked Peter. Well, I like him, and I'm trying to show him it's okay to hang out with other guys, but it hasn't clicked in yet, Jason yelled from another table. Rachel! Come over here! But if he continues to be like this, I don't think I will be with him much longer, said Rachel as she gathered her tray and got up. See you two later. And she walked over to the other table. Jason glared at Peter. That made him sweat. What a jerk, Peter stuttered. Jan looked over at him then shrugged. What are you so afraid of Peter? He doesn't look that scary to me. That's because he's not out to get you. Peter, you're just thinking too much. Bobby could handle him. He's just trying to look scary to make sure you stay away from Rachel. Great, just what I needed on the first day of school. If I need to hide out, Alex may not be the only boy wearing a dress tomorrow. Jan laughed. Stop that, come on, let's get to class. Back at home, Alex was in the family room stretched across the couch munching on a bowl of potato chips. He was wearing a blue gingham shirt tied at the waist and tan cropped pants. Cartoon King was on the television when the boys walked through the sliding doors. Well, aren't we comfy? What's the matter? Sesame Street is over? Said Greg, gesturing at the TV. Ha ha. You should be on the Hank Coleman show. How was school? How do you think it was? I thought it would never end. I'm starved. Me too, said Bobby, following Greg to the kitchen. Peter stayed with Alex. Aren't you hungry too, Pete? Want some chips? Nah, I don't have that much of an appetite. Say, you know that new girl Rachel Palmer you met the other day at the ice cream parlor? Yeah, Alex replied. Well, she was sitting with us at lunch and her new overprotective boyfriend was busting on me and glaring at me because he saw me with her. No kidding? And he threatened me to beat me up if he saw me with her again. What do you think I should do? I asked Jan, but she doesn't take the situation seriously. At that moment Jan walked in from the patio. May I add, Alex, that if you saw this guy you wouldn't take it seriously either, she added. Well, if he's 4 foot and wimpy or 6 feet tall and buff, I wouldn't let him tell me who I can or can't sit with, stated Alex. Well, it's easy for you to say that. You don't have that situation, and besides, he can't beat you up. You're a girl, said Peter. Oh, Peter, that's so nice, smiled Alex. You know what I mean. Yeah, but I've gotten threatened by guys before. I know what it's like, believe me. If it was me, I wouldn't have moved for that creep. I've done enough hiding. This was Alex's first time giving someone advice. These years being around Uncle Mike really rubbed off. You wouldn't? Asked Peter. No, besides if Rachel was really your friend, she'd break up with this guy for beating you up, Alex joked. That makes me feel a whole lot better, Peter said sarcastically. Peter, what I'm saying is, don't go through life worrying and letting people bully you. That's right, said January. If you really like Rachel, just keep hanging out with her and ignore him. Yeah, I bet this guy is all talk anyway, added Alex. Well, okay, said Peter, still feeling a bit insecure about this whole situation. I'll catch you later, feel better, added Jan as he walked out. He'll be okay, January. If there is anyone I know well, it's Peter. He's a worrier, but he's not a coward. I hope you're right. Of course I am. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Would you do me a huge favor? Sure, what is it? Tomorrow's my first day in a new school. Would you help me pick out my outfit? Certainly, Alex. I would love to. Come on, let's do it now. Far out, exclaimed Alex as Jan grabbed his hand and led him to the stairs. Up in the attic, Jan shuffled through the rack of Alex's clothes. She was impressed in his taste in clothing. Not even some of her girlfriends had such good fashion sense. She picked one off the rack and held it up. Come over here, let me see how this one looks. She held a pink and white plaid mini dress against Alex. I love this one, it was one of the first dresses I bought after saving my allowance. It's definitely cute, but let's look at some other stuff. We'll get back to this. Jan turned back to shuffling through the closet and returned with another dress. This one was a floral print with a sharp white collar. Oh, I like this one. Marcia has one just like it, but I think it might look better on you. You lie, Alex blushed. No, really. Try it on, let's see. Here? Now? No, next week. Yes, silly, now. Jan confirmed. Okay, Alex said hesitantly. He slipped off his cotton penny loafers and peeled the pants from his legs, revealing pink silk panties. When he unbuttoned his blouse, Jan noticed that his bra matched. She was impressed. He really committed to this dressing up thing. He stepped into the dress and buttoned it up. Jan stepped forward and pulled Alex's long hair that was tucked into the collar. There, come over to the mirror. Alex smoothed the dress over his figure. Jan peeked over his shoulder. Yeah, this one is perfect. You'll make a perfect impression tomorrow. You'll be turning a lot of heads. You really think I look good? Said Alex in a hopeful tone. I think you look great. This dress is so cute, it really shows off your legs. Alex pulled at the hem, admiring his smooth legs. It does, doesn't it? He giggled. Jan retreated to the closet and brought Alex his pink platform heels. And these will complete the package. Alex slipped the heels on his feet and strolled to the end of the room and back as if he was on a runway. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Alex Brady, Jan announced. Alex made a curtsy and they both laughed. Jan, thank you so much, said Alex with a hug. I think tomorrow is going to be the best first day of school ever. The Brady bunch will be right back. The next day the kids all lined up to grab their lunches and headed out the door in a single formation. Alex was last, wearing the outfit Jan picked out. Hold it, young lady, Carol ordered. Alex considered what she said for a second and figured that she meant him. He smiled and turned around. Yes, Aunt Carol? Aren't you going to show me your outfit? Carol asked. Oh, with pleasure, Alex replied. With his hands on his hips he twisted in place to provide a view from all angles. You look positively adorable. You're going to knock them dead today. Thanks so much, I just want to get through the day with no problems. Alex looked around to see if anyone else was close by. Aunt Carol, can I tell you something? I'm all ears, dear. I'm really nervous about going to school today. I mean, I was really nervous about seeing you guys dressed like, well, you know. But deep down I knew that my cousins would accept me. But I don't know anyone here. And I'm so afraid of someone finding out that I'm not what they think I am. I play it cool in front of the boys, but I'm really scared. Oh, honey, Carol put her arm around Alex and pulled him in tight. You are going to be just fine, believe me. You are prettier than most of the girls that I've seen around here. Except my own daughters, of course. Alex sniffed and giggled at that. Do you really mean it? With all my heart. Look at that dress, it's gorgeous. And your hair and makeup, well, I'm just so impressed and so proud of you. Alex hugged Carol tighter. Thank you so much, Aunt Carol. When you say things like that and refer to me as girl, you make me feel so special. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Carol hugged him back. You're welcome, dear. Now go on and get yourself to school before you find yourself late on your first day. Alex kissed Carol's cheek. Bye-bye, Aunt Carol. Aren't you forgetting something? Carol said, holding a brown lunch bag. Alex exhaled in an exasperated huff and stuffed the bag into his large mauve pocketbook. Duh. Okay, now I'm leaving. He declared and walked out to the patio. Carol laughed behind him, shaking her head. The school was bustling with activity as the students filed into the courtyard and school entrances. Peter and Jan were getting ready to enter the school's side doors when they heard their names. Jan! Peter! Alex shouted, running up to the school building, clutching his books to his chest. They turned around and saw him trying to stay balanced on his tall heels. Alex! Jan said with surprise. I thought for sure that you changed your mind and stayed home, said Peter. I was, but your mom talked me out of it, Alex said, catching his breath. Well, are you sure you're all right? Jan asked. Positive, smiled Alex. He was still trying to catch his breath when Rachel walked up. Hey you guys, she greeted. Hey Alex, glad to see that you're here today. Thanks, said Alex. Jason saw Peter talking to his girlfriend. He ran over. Brady, he yelled. I thought I told you to stay away from my girl. Rachel rolled her eyes and tried stopping him. Jason just no, it's okay, said Peter. He stood up straight and looked up and down at him. Peter was almost a head shorter than Jason. I'm not afraid of him, he was lying. Oh yeah? Jason asked suspiciously. Are you testing me or are you really that stupid? He shoved him back. Peter glared at him. Neither. Peter said, his voice now cracking. I should be able to hang out with whoever I want, that includes Rachel. She's my friend. Jason looked at Peter, then down at the ground. He chuckled. He looked back up at Peter. You're making a mistake, Brady, he said, advancing on Peter, pushing him backwards. Why don't you leave him alone? Jan shouted. Alex glared at Jason. With an angry facial expression, he passed his books to January. Why don't you tell him to stop hanging around my girl, replied Jason, turning back to Peter. You're a chump, Brady, chump. At this point Alex let his pocketbook fall to the ground and landed a solid right punch on Jason's jaw. He lost his footing and fell back into the trimmed hedges lining the path. He stared at Alex with shock. That's what you deserve, jerk, Alex said angrily but trying not to shout. Rachel walked over to Jason as he struggled to get up. That's it, she shouted. We're through, and she walked off. Jan and Peter stared at Alex, their mouths open in shock. Alex trembled as he picked up his pocketbook off the ground and smoothed out his dress. Come on you guys, Rachel motioned to them. There's nothing more to see here. Hey, thanks for that, Peter whispered to Alex as they walked inside. Alex put his arm around Peter's waist. Don't mention it. You could have taken him, but I didn't want you expelled on your second day of school. Besides, he wouldn't dare hit a girl. They laughed and turned the corner to their homeroom. A few hours later, as Alex was riding his bike down the street, he ran into Rachel Palmer. "Hey Alex," she called. Alex stopped the bike. "Hey Rachel," Alex greeted back. "Hey, Rachel, I'm sorry for pushing your boyfriend today. I hope you're not too mad at me." "It's okay, Alex," she said. "He's not my boyfriend anymore, not after what he did to Peter." "I think you were too angry to catch that." "Oh," Alex said, scratching his head. "Yeah, and the fact that I don't listen very well." Rachel laughed at Alex's comment, thinking of it as joke, when it was really the truth. "Well, I'll catch you later," she said. As she walked off, then she stopped and turned back to Alex. "Hey Alex," she asked. "Yeah," asked Alex. "How is Peter, by the way?" "He's okay." "That's good to hear." She stalled a bit, trying to find the right words. "Do you think he'd like to go out with me?" "Peter?" "No, George Washington," Rachel replied sarcastically. "Of course Peter." Alex shrugged. "I don't see why not." "Well, could you ask him for me?" "Okay, but only because you two would make a cute couple." He smiled and rode off. Alex joined the boys in their bedroom. "Rachel Palmer asked me out," asked Peter with disbelief. "Who is Rachel Palmer?" Bobby asked. "This girl we met a few days ago at the ice cream parlor," replied Alex. "She's also the new girl, and she wants to ask you out?" Bobby asked. "Yeah," replied Peter. "Is there something wrong with that?" "No," replied Bobby. "Nothing wrong, just strange." "Well?" Alex asked Peter. "Well, what?" asked Peter. "Are you going to go out with her or not?" "You airhead," replied Alex. "Yeah, I think I will." "Will what?" Jan said as she popped her head through the doorway. "Go on a date with Rachel," Alex volunteered. "I think it would be cute if you two were to go out," said Jan. "You think?" asked Peter. "Yes, Peter." "Go for it," replied January. "Yeah," added Cindy suddenly. "I think you two would be a cute couple, and I don't even know who Rachel Palmer is." Peter was so confident, so sure, until he got to thinking of Jason, Rachel's old boyfriend. "Oh no," he mumbled. "What?" asked January. "What if Jason finds out?" asked Peter. "Then he'll beat me up, for sure." "Peter, you need to quit worrying so much," said January. "Besides, if he tries anything, you can summon your cousin," Jan said as a joke, but Peter took it as if it were a serious statement. "I can't have Alex fight all my battles," said Peter seriously. "I'll have to stand up to him," and he left the room. "Wow, does he take things seriously or what?" Cindy asked. The next day at school, Alex, Jan, and Peter were laughing and talking on their way to the junior high until they spotted Rachel waiting under a tree. Jan and Alex looked at each other and began to walk away. "Wait," shouted Peter. "Where are you going?" "Sorry, Pete, but we gotta split," said Alex. Leaving Peter in the open, Rachel spotted him and walked up. "Hey Peter," she said shyly. "Hi," he said shyly as well. They stood there a few moments. Peter noticed she wasn't going to do the first move, so he did. "So would you like to go out sometime?" Peter asked finally. Rachel didn't think she'd ever hear the words come out of his mouth. "You know, for a pizza or something." She stood in shock, but realized she has to say something. "Sure, yeah, that would be nice," she said. "Far out, how about this Friday?" Peter asked. "I'd like that," she replied. "You would?" That's great. I'll pick you up around 7? 7 it is. See you then, Peter. Peter walked into the kitchen after school. Jan and Alex were sitting at the table as if waiting for him. Bobby was there snacking on potato chips. Where have you been, young man? Asked Alex, pretending to be serious. I walked Rachel home, Peter replied. Oh, you did? Jan asked, grinning as well. Yeah, he said as he took a seat at the table. So what's wrong? Alex asked. What do you mean? Peter asked. You seem strange, Alex replied. I'm just still in shock, I suppose, he said. So you guys are going out? Jan asked. Peter smiled at Jan as he nodded, blushing a bit. On Friday night, Greg, Bobby and Peter were in their room. Greg was helping Peter get ready for his date with Rachel. Well, hey, look at you, Pete, said Greg. Yeah? Peter asked curiously. Do I look good? Good? With those groovy duds you can't miss. He looks the same as he did a half hour ago when you guys started, said Bobby, looking up from his magazine as he laid on his bed. Bobby, you know nothing about life, Peter stated. I'm only 10. What life have I got? Said Bobby. A few hours later, Peter returned from the pizza parlor. Hey kiddo, greeted Mike sitting on the couch. How was your date? Yeah, Pete, how'd it go? Asked Greg. It was great. Rachel and I have so much in common. She's really nice, and she digs me too, replied Peter. Hey Pete. That's great, said Mike. Yeah, my little brother's first girlfriend. A big brother's proud moment when their younger siblings follow into their footsteps, said Greg, pretending to get emotional and fakes a sniff and wipes an imaginary tear from his eye. My kid brother is growing up. It's early November. Alex has been living with the Bradys for 2 months and so far it's been great. He has been fitting in very well, even joining a few clubs at school. Alex and Jan were in science class writing notes from the board when Jan began to squint. Alex, do you know what that word is? She asked. Alex glanced from her notebook to the board. Niche, replied Alex as he continued to write. Oh, Jan replied and resumed writing. A few moments later, Jan asked the same thing again, but a different word. Now, what's that word? Environment, replied Alex, placing his pencil down. Jan, can you see okay? Alex asked. I think so, why? Jan replied. Well, I can read the words fine, and we're not even that far back, but you can't seem to read too many of the words up there, replied Alex. Do you think you need glasses? Jan became a bit defensive. You're the third person that asked me that. Why does everyone think I need glasses? Well, if people keep bringing it up, maybe you do, but they'll make me look positively goofy. Positively goofy? You? No way. You're just saying that. You're just too polite of a person to say I won't. Just admit it. Okay, I will admit it, Alex began. I'll admit that you're a beautiful girl. You've got a nice smile, gorgeous hair, and great eyes. No pair of glasses could ruin them. Really? Jan asked, blushing a bit. She never heard so many compliments at once, from one person. Yeah, I wish I had blue eyes like yours, replied Alex. Jan, I understand your insecurity. I'm sometimes insecure about myself. You are? Jan asked, a bit shocked. Yeah, I sometimes wonder if that is why I dress this way, Alex admitted. Maybe to get attention, or maybe to look prettier. So, yeah, I'm insecure about the way I look. In a way, these dresses and makeup make me feel better about myself. I wondered why you wanted to dress like a girl. I mean, when I met you, I have to admit that I did think it was a little weird at first. But that makes sense. I know exactly how you feel. How long have you been doing it? Alex thought about the question for a few moments. I think I was about 8 or 9 when I first tried on one of my mom's skirts. She has such groovy clothes. I specifically remember when I would lean on her when we sat together watching TV that I just loved how her blouses felt. We had a clothes hamper in the bathroom, so I would steal some of the clothes from it and try them on. Jan listened intently to Alex as he explained. I loved how I looked in her clothes, even though they were a little too big for me. Soon it became a compulsion. I would wear her panties under my jeans when I went to school. Jan wrinkled her nose. Alex laughed. I know, gross, huh? Jan laughed with him. Alex continued. I started to fake being sick just so I could spend the day trying on all of my mom's clothes, and I started to practice with makeup. That's when I really knew that I wanted to do it all the time. I just looked so much better and I liked myself better. So, well, here I am now. Well, I like you just the way you are, Alex. You're the coolest person I know. Alex turned red. Ah, go on. I mean it, go on, go on. They laughed. That night the family gathered in the family room, Greg giving Peter pointers on his date with Rachel and Carol, telling him to bring a jacket and wait outside right after the movie because Greg will pick them up right after the movie ends. And it's a school night and all that. You're gonna be a hit, Alex said, snapping a couple pictures of Peter. Thanks. Rachel's earrings are in my pocket, replied Peter. I'm going to wait till the right moment to give them to her. You look very charming, Peter, complimented Alice. I think you look handsome, added Cindy. Thanks all of you guys, said Peter. Well, Greg and I are off to pick up Rachel. I'll tell you everything when I get back, and Peter and Greg walked out the door. There goes my son on his first date, Carol sighed. Mike put his arm around her. Yeah, and just as handsome as his old man, Mike added. At the movies, Peter and Rachel were sitting next to each other in the movie theater. Peter slowly made his first move as he did the stretch and arm around the shoulder move. He decided this was the perfect moment. Hey Rachel, he whispered. Yeah? She whispered back. I got you something special, he replied. Yeah? She asked, trying to contain her excitement. Peter reached into his pocket and pulled out the box. Happy 2-month anniversary, he said, handing her the box. She opened it and her eyes sparkled. Oh, Peter, she said. They're beautiful, she kissed him on the cheek. And Peter blushed. Well, you're welcome. I thought since you got me a nice gift last month that I should get you an even better one, Peter, she said with an awe. I don't care what gift you get me, or if you get me one at all. I like you, for you, and I like you too, a lot, and knowing that is the best gift of all, she pulled out her present. And beside, I love that necklace you made me, so I made you one. She put it around his neck. Sorry it wasn't as good as the last gift, it's just I used all my money on the watch last month, Rachel. I don't care if you give me a gift at all, and I love it, thank you, said Peter. No money could buy a necklace like this, and I love it. It was another quiet fall night in the Brady home. It was close to Thanksgiving. In fact, the kids get off for Thanksgiving vacation in 2 days. The night was great, long, peaceful silence. It was perfect. Or so they thought. On this perfect night, Alex couldn't sleep. His stomach kept waking him up, so he put his robe on over his white nightgown and went down into the kitchen for a midnight snack. He poured himself a glass of milk and a few cookies when suddenly he heard a crash that broke the silence of the night. Alex walked quickly around the counter. What in the world was that? He asked quietly to himself. It sounded like shattering glass in the family room, like a window breaking. He bravely tiptoed into the family room and peeked past the folding doors. A window broke all right. It was caused by a brick with a paper attached. Somebody obviously threw it into their window. For what reason? Who could be angry at the Bradys so much? Wrong address maybe? Only one way to find out. He tiptoed carefully around the broken glass. Since he was barefoot, he didn't want any glass in his feet. He picked up the brick and squinting in the darkness of the night he unwrapped the paper. It read, "Go back home, Brady, if you know what's best for you." Alex's face was painted with disgust. Who would do such a crazy thing? Whoever it was, they were referring to Alex. What other Brady could be told go back home? Someone obviously hated Alex, enough to drive a brick through a window. But who? And now a word from our sponsor. At that moment Greg and Peter rushed into the room. "Alex, are you all right?" Greg asked. "Yeah, we heard a crash and dash." Peter noticed the glass everywhere on the floor and broken window. "What happened?" "This happened," replied Alex, frustrated, confused and angry, holding up the brick and note. Greg read the note to himself and his face looked like he was going to blow a fuse. "Who wrote this?" Greg asked. "I don't know," Alex replied. "I just heard this crash through the window. Nobody was in sight that I saw." "I bet I know," Peter said with guilt and anger. "It was probably that Jason guy, Rachel's old boyfriend." "How do you figure, Pete?" Greg asked. "When Jason was threatening me because I was hanging out with Rachel, Alex told me not to let him boss me around," Peter began. "And so when I didn't stop, he began to pick a fight with me, then Alex hit him." Greg's eyes widened with surprise and turned to Alex. "You hit him?" Then he smirked. "Serves the jerk right." "Yeah, except I wouldn't think he'd stoop to this," said Alex, picking up a piece of glass from the broken window on the floor. "Why should you be the one to suffer?" Peter said, his anger building. "I'm the one who took Rachel from him. He should be angry with me. Not you. Don't you see, Peter? Jason threw the brick to scare me so I wouldn't be here to protect you," Alex said, then smirked. "I think the big oaf is afraid of me. I should really just pop him another one on the kisser." "Wait, you can't just hit him," said Greg. "And why not?" Alex asked, then another smirk painted across her face. "It worked out last time." "Yeah, but then you had a reason." "I have a reason now too." "But you're not 100 sure that Jason did this." Alex stopped to think a minute. "That's true, but who else would do this?" "Yeah, we had such a good solution until you ruined it with your what if it wasn't him theory," said Peter. "Just hear me out, Pete," said Greg. "I just think you shouldn't do anything until you know who did this." "I hear you, Greg, but there's still one more problem," said Alex. "What's that?" asked Greg. "The window," replied Alex. Later that morning. "Well, thank goodness no one got hurt," said Carol, giving Alex a hug. "Yeah, I'm just wondering who would do this," added Mike. "That's what we were trying to figure out last night," said Greg. "Do you think you could get to the bottom of this, Dad?" Peter asked. "Well, I'm not sure, son, but I'll try," Mike replied. "So will we," said Alex. "We might have an idea already." "Well, hurry up, you three, you'll be late for school," said Carol, scurrying the three out the door. "Later, Mom, Dad, Alice," shouted Peter as he walked out the door, grabbing his lunch from his mother. "Bye," said Greg, grabbing his lunch. Alex grabbed his lunch. "Hey, what's in here anyway?" "Food, now Scoot." Carol said, practically shoving him out the door. After the kids left, she let out a big sigh. Well, honey, I better go get the window replaced, said Mike, rubbing his neck, trying to hide his stress. Oh, Mike, what about work? Asked Carol. I'll have to take the day off, Mike replied. Thank goodness I have some vacation days, not that I'd call this a vacation. Back at Fillmore Junior High, Peter was still trying to contain his anger. He ran into Jan outside of the cafeteria. All right, where is that creep? Peter asked, squinting his eyes from the bright sun, looking around the schoolyard. Peter, will you cool it? Jan said, trying to calm her brother down. How can I calm down? That jerk really could have hurt someone, and he scared Alex to death. I don't know about that, he doesn't really seem to care that much, said Jan, looking back at Alex eating his lunch at a nearby table. Alex is always happy when he's eating, Peter joked. But when he's done, he'll be madder than. Madder than what? Madder than when he misses lunch. Jan couldn't help but to laugh. You're so dumb, you know that? But just then she spotted Jason. Before she could finish, Peter was already on his way toward him. Hey, he shouted. Yeah, I'm talking to you, you meathead. Alex looked up when he heard the shouting. He was embarrassed to find it was his own cousin, not only calling Jason out, but calling him a meathead. Oh, no. Jason turned around. Brady, he said with surprise. So you remember me, good, because I have a bone to pick with you. Peter shouted. Whoa, where'd that spunk come from, Brady? Jason chuckled. It came right when you started messing with my cousin. What? Don't play dumb with me. You and I both know that you threw that brick through our window. Are you cracked? Why would I do something like that? As far as I'm concerned, I'm over you and Rachel. And that mishap with your cousin. So, you didn't throw the brick through our window? Asked Peter with confusion. No, I don't know anything about that. Actually, I was hoping we could start over, replied Jason. It was wrong of me to do that, it was the green monster taking over. I'm actually not that bad of a guy. Oh, well, sure, said Peter. That sounds great, but I still need to find out who threw that brick through our window. Oh well, maybe I can help, said Jason. Really? How? Asked Peter. Well, I know a few people who are angry with Alex or jealous of her. Really? That's surprising. Who? Well, Jason began, but the bell interrupted before he could list the names. I'll come after school and tell you everything I know. Besides, I'd really like to know that cousin of yours better. She's kinda cute and she has a heck of a right hook. As he spoke, he stole a glance at Alex standing at the doorway with Jan, admiring the green sleeveless mini dress Alex was wearing. Great legs, he thought to himself. Sounds great, see you then, said Peter. He ran over to his sister and cousin. Well? Jan asked. Did you find out? It wasn't Jason, Peter replied with a grin. So, what's so great about that? Jan asked with a puzzled facial expression. And how do you know he's not lying? Alex asked, then taking a bite of his apple. Well, he not only didn't do it, he's over everything that had happened, and so we put everything behind us, Peter replied with the same big grin. So I repeat, what's so great about that? Jan asked. Who else would be so angry with Alex? Well, I don't know personally, but Jason knows a few people. He's coming over after school and listing who and why. That's interesting, Alex said with a shocking facial expression. I don't know who would be angry with me. Well, it's only a matter of time till we find out. That same day after school, Alex, Peter, and Jan walked home with new friend, ex-bully, Jason. They learned his last name is Smith, and he's in the drama club. This surprised Alex, who took him for a typical bonehead jock. Like so many that had teased him back home. So in study hall I took the liberty to write who would have a problem with Alex and why, said Jason. And? Peter asked. And I got them all here, Jason replied, pulling out a folder with the papers. Great, we'll look over them at home, said Alex. Back at the house, the four went up into Alex's room looking through the papers. Peter and Jan sat on beanbag chairs. On the bed, Alex was leaning next to Jason reading his list. Jerry Richards? Alex said with surprising, reading the title of the paper Jason wrote. Why would he hate me? If I was meant to answer that, Jason began. I wouldn't have a cramped hand for writing the reason why. Okay, I just hate reading, Alex said, slapping Jason's thigh. He flirtatiously leaned in closer to Jason. He knew that it was getting Jason turned on. As Alex was reading of the jealousy of Jerry Richards, he couldn't help but snicker. What? Jan asked, leaning in to read. The reason why this kid is jealous of me is because people laugh at my jokes and not his, Alex replied. What's the big deal on that? She asked. Well, maybe if you actually heard his jokes, Alex replied. Yeah, seriously, Jason added. He's in my math class. He tried telling a joke to a couple people and called him a rip-off Alex, or saying that Alex is funny. It's actually funnier listening to the put-downs than Jerry's jokes. So Jerry could have done it, because everybody in his math class likes Alex, and not him, Jan said, writing this down at Alex's desk, keeping track on each person. Right, answered Jason. All right, the next kid is Daniel Young, announced Alex. And what's his deal? Jan asked. That he thinks I'm a nerd, said Alex, rolling his eyes. That's not helping us, Jason. You made that up. I did not. Jason laughed. You don't throw a brick through someone's window for being a nerd, Alex replied. Yeah, and besides, Daniel only eggs nerds' houses, Peter added. It happened to me last year. Well, Jason doesn't think I'm a nerd, do you, Jason? Alex pouted and crossed his legs, slightly nudging at Jason, who was turning beet red. All right, so there's no use in adding Daniel Young, Jan interrupted, breaking the tension. Next one, Alex. Simon McDonnell, Alex read. That British kid? Peter asked. Why does he hate you for? I guess because I threatened him for teasing Bobby for being short and Cindy for her lisp. He was being a total creep, tossing his Englishy dry jokes around that I finally had enough from that rich snot-nosed preppy English brat and told him off in front of everyone, and he literally ran home crying, Alex stated from his memory, not what Jason had wrote. So, when you punched me, it wasn't the first time? Jason asked. No, it was, but punching you wasn't the last time, replied Alex, punching Jason in the arm. Anyway, he slipped on something when he turned to run and his feet flew right out from under him. Peter began to laugh. Like in the cartoons. Alex laughed along. I know, right? Hard to believe they're related, Jan said sarcastically. She turned around, rolling her eyes at the two, and wrote down Simon McDonnell for a suspect. So it could be Simon, because he's angry for making him look like a fool, Alex said with seriousness. And don't forget the fact that he hates Americans, added Peter. Especially goofy Americans like you. So it could be a very good possibility, said Jason. All right, who's next? Jan asked. All right, the last one, stated Alex. This is Sarah Parker. Sarah Parker, Jan repeated. I know her. Well, Sarah hates me. I guess I replaced her spot on the first string for the girls' basketball team, said Alex. Yeah, like that Warren Mullaney with Greg. The same situation, added Peter. Remember how sore he was with him? Of course, Jan said, turning around to write her name down. So basically there are 3 people here that are probable suspects, said Alex. I guess we're going to all have to confront them, replied Jason. But how? Peter asked. Well, I know Sarah Parker has the biggest crush on Peter, Jan began. She does? Peter asked cluelessly. Yeah, she's always drooling over you in history class, replied January. If you pretended you were interested in her, I bet she'll tell you anything. But what about Rachel? Peter asked. Don't worry, I'll clue Rachel on everything tomorrow, replied Alex. And what about Simon? Jan asked. Well, Alex began. If Jason pretends to be a hardcore bully again and tells Simon he won't beat the stuffing out of him if he tells him, then we'd get our answer, and this works out because he's a coward. I don't think I can do that, Jason began. I know I came on strong to you guys, but I'm not really Dash. You can do it, Jason, said Alex, nudging his shoulder. After all, you are in the drama club. True, added Jason, blushing again. Now what about Jerry Richards? Peter got a grin on his face. I have an idea, he said. I know Jerry has the hots for Jan, and if Jan does what I do to Sarah to Jerry, he's bound to spill the beans. Oh no, no way. Jan said. Jerry is so gross. Jan, I thought you'd do this little favor for Alex. I thought Alex was your friend, said Peter. Jan began to feel bad. I'm sorry. Don't guilt her, Pete, Alex said to Peter. Guilting people gets you nowhere. You don't have to if you don't want to. January Jerry is a coward too, so we'll get Jason to do the same thing to him to what he'll do to Simon. No way, said Jason. Jerry is in my drama class. He knows that I can't hurt a fly. Great, now what? Alex said, stumped. No, I'll do it, said January. I'll do it for the sake of Alex, not Peter's crummy guilting. All right, great. Alex said with a grin. You all know what to do? By the end of tomorrow, we'll know who busted the window. The next day at school, Alex ran up to the side of the school building. He pulled out a walkie-talkie and talked into it. I spot our first victim, get ready for operation, heartthrob, Jan sighed. Why do we need these? She asked Alex through the talkie. People are staring. That's because you're not in your assigned hidden position, soldier, Alex replied through the talkie. Why are you talking that way? Never mind, I see Jerry, you know what to do? Yes. Get ready, I'll be watching from here. If all else fails, I'm ready with plan B, operation, ready with backups. Cousin Brady, out. Jan sighed as she put her walkie-talkie back into her bag. She walked up to Jerry Richards. Alex helped her with her outfit this morning, a flirty pleated blue mini skirt and blue sweater over a black and white floral blouse. Hi Jerry, she said with a grin. Oh, Jan, hi, Jerry said nervously. So Jerry, I was wondering if you would like to go out sometime? Jan asked. After asking this question, Jan bit her bottom lip, trying to prevent herself from screaming. Would I ever? Jerry exclaimed with excitement. He then cleared his throat, trying to remain cool. I mean, that's groovy. Far out, but there's one little problem, Jan said, turning her back for dramatic effect. Oh great, drama queen is playing her card, Alex said to himself from his position behind the main building. What's the problem? Jerry asked. Jan turned back to Jerry. Well, a couple of days ago our window got busted, and my parents grounded me because they thought I did it, she replied. And I didn't do it. The only way that they'll believe me is if they have proof on someone else who did it. Oh, is all Jerry said. You don't happen to know anybody who broke the window, do you, Jerry? Meanwhile, back in the school building, Peter and Jason were outside the gym doors. Inside is where Sarah Parker is. All right, Peter, you know the plan? Asked Jason. Peter nodded. Sure do, he replied. So you're ready? Jason asked again. I guess so, Peter replied with a shrug. Peter walked into the gym towards Sarah. Hey, Sarah, he called. Got a moment? Peter Brady? Sarah said with a surprise. Well, nice to see you around here. Sure, what's up? Well, I came down here because, Peter began. Because. Because what, Peter? Sarah asked. Because I always had a secret crush on you, replied Peter. You do? She asked, eyes wide with surprise. Yes, and now that I got that out in the open. I don't want any secrets between you and me anymore, said Peter. Let's have a clean relationship, starting now. I told you my only secret about you. Is there anything you'd like to tell me? Meanwhile in the halls, after Peter had left for the gym to put Sarah through trial, it was almost time for lunch, and Simon would be getting out of class. Jason looked at his watch. No time to lose, he said. Simon was putting books into his locker. He closed the door and he saw Jason was standing there. Simon jumped, then cleared his throat, trying not to show any fear. Ah, Jason, Smith is it? What brings you at my locker? You know what, Jason replied. Not really, said Simon. Then Jason pushed Simon up against the lockers. So we're going to play dumb? All right, fine, but I'm explain this once, are your ears clean? I do believe so, why yes, Simon replied trembling, body against the lockers, at least a few inches off the ground. Jason's firm grip on his coat only a grandfather would wear. All right, well the word is that the Brady home has a busted window, someone threw a brick through it. Everyone thinks it's me. I heard that you've been running your mouth blaming it on me. And I'm a-thinking you're the one who threw the brick. Did you or did you not? Jason, may I remind why Simon began. But before he could finish the sentence Jason slammed Jason's body, but not enough to hurt him, just scare him, into the lockers. Listen, if you lied to me, and I find out you lied to me, then well, you know the rest, don't you? Jason asked. And Simon slowly nodded. Good, now let's hear your answer. Meanwhile back at the schoolyard with Jan and Jerry. No, Jan, I don't, I'm sorry, Jerry replied. Are you sure, Jerry? If I don't find out now, I'll be grounded longer, which means I won't be able to go out with you, said January. Well, maybe another time, Jan, but I don't know anybody, honest, Jerry replied. Jan could see that he wasn't lying. Okay, Jan said. Thanks anyway. She walked away and the walkie-talkie in her backpack began to talk. Jan, come in, what did you find out? Alex said through Jan's talkie. She took out the walkie-talkie and talked into it. He didn't do it, Jan said into the talkie. He may be lying. Go to plan B. Alex's voice was tinny coming through the device. And what is that? Jan asked through the talkie. Threaten him and kick him where the sun don't shine. Alex! Meanwhile, back at the gym where Peter is. Well, Peter, there is something I have to tell you too, said Sarah. Yeah? Peter asked. I have a crush on you too, she said. And? Peter asked. And I have pictures of you in my locker, Sarah replied, with a touch to his elbow. Oh, really? That's nice, said Peter. Then mumbled under his breath. Great. Thanks, I really think you're cute, she said with a giggle. Getting closer to him, Peter backed away. Well, isn't there any secret with, my family maybe? Peter asked, getting uncomfortable. Sarah thought a minute. Well, there was this one time I threw a basketball at your cousin's head, she replied. That's all? And the time I cheated off of your sister's test. And that's all. That's all? Peter asked. Nothing to do with our house? Window? No, why? She asked. No reason, he replied. So, now that we're both clean, when do we go out? She asked. 8 p.m., pizza parlor, million years from now, replied Peter. Then he walked out. Peter Brady, you're a jerk. I wouldn't go out with you if you were the last boy on earth. I swear. I didn't start the rumor, cried Simon back at the lockers. Jason holding him at least a few inches from the ground. Don't lie. Jason yelled. You threw the brick and blamed me, didn't you? Didn't you? He slammed Simon into the lockers again. No. No. I swear. I would never lie to you. Never, never, never. Simon cried, frightened tears rolled down his cheeks. If this is about Alex Brady and her family, I'll never tease them again, I'll never try to get back at Alex, I'll never make fun of any American again. Jason let go of Simon and stepped back. You mean you didn't throw the brick through their window? Why would I do that? Simon asked, wiping his tears away. To get back at Alex, Jason replied. I tried getting back at Alex for that before, stated Simon. But come on, I'm not that sinister. Oh well, sorry about all that, buddy, Jason replied, wiping of his coat. He patted his back and walked off. 5 minutes afterwards, it's time for lunch. And time for the group to report back to their table and share what information they found out about the mystery of the shattered window. So what did you find out? Jason asked, sitting down. I got nothing. We don't either, replied Alex. Peter walked up. Hey you guys, he said. Hey Pete, replied Alex. What did you find out? Sarah didn't do it, replied Peter, sitting down at the table. So, none of three did it? Alex asked. But, Jason said with confusion. But nobody else in the school hates Alex. You say that like it's a bad thing. Alex chuckled. Maybe it's someone out of school, maybe at the elementary school or high school, said January. But Alex doesn't know many high schoolers, she's only been here a couple of months, stated Peter. And an elementary schooler throwing a heavy brick through a window? Get real. Well, I'm officially stumped, announced January. This would be a whole lot easier if they left their name on the note, said Alex. The next day the kids got out for Thanksgiving break. Peter, Jan and Alex were up in Alex's room still pondering over who could have thrown the brick. I just don't know who else it could be, said Jan, looking through last year's yearbook. Maybe it's someone we wouldn't think did it, said Alex from the small powder room as he changed out of his nightgown into a casual sundress. What do you mean? Asked January. I mean, maybe it's somebody who secretly hates me, but doesn't show it physically. Like for this sort, he walked to a dresser and pulled out the brick with the note. You still have the note? Jan asked. And the brick? Peter asked with a bit confusion. Yeah, I figured maybe we could match the handwriting, replied Alex. Okay, good idea, said Peter. But why do you still have the brick? Just in case I need it, replied Alex, holding the brick, studying it. You know, to throw it in the window of the kid who threw it through our window. Peter and Jan began to laugh. And we can attach a note saying you forgot your brick, Alex went on. As good of an idea that sounds, said Jan a bit sarcastically. We still don't know who did it. Peter took a good look at the note. The handwriting looks familiar, he said. Really? Asked Alex. Who? I can't put my finger on it, replied Peter. An hour later they finally gave up and took a break. Peter went to play some baseball with a group of friends and Jan went to a friend's house. Alex was stuck with no one to hang out. But there's 6 kids in this house, there's got to be someone. Alex walked into the kitchen, he spotted little cousin Bobby. She smiled and walked up to him. Hey, Bobby boy, said Alex as he took a seat next to him. Hey, he replied back. Say Bobby, we haven't hung out too much since I've been here, Alex said. So I was wondering, how about we go get some ice cream, you and me kid? Bobby's face brightened. Boy, would I. But, how are we going to get there? Well, we're going to get some good exercise, Alex replied. Come on, we're walking. Let me just get my pocketbook. At Driscoll's ice cream parlor it was busier than usual with no school in session. Alex and Bobby sat at the counter. Boy, Bobby, this is your second ice cream cone, said Alex, still finishing his first. You're gonna burn a hole in my pocket. Oh yeah, thanks for treating me, said Bobby, taking a big bite of his cone. Anything for my favorite little cousin, replied Alex. But you sure do eat fast, he sucked a drip of ice cream off his fingers. Yeah, replied Bobby as he took another bite. He squinted and tapped Alex's shoulder. Hey, isn't that Peter's girlfriend? He asked, pointing. Alex looked up. Yeah, what's she doing with that guy? He wondered. That's what I was thinking, replied Bobby. As Bobby and Alex watched, Rachel appeared to be flirting with this strange boy. Does Peter know about this? Asked Bobby. I don't think so, Alex replied. Let's go bust her in the act, said Bobby, about running up to them. Alex caught his arm. No, Bobby, said Alex, pulling him back. She hasn't done anything yet. They watched longer and eventually Rachel was writing something on a napkin and gave it to him. What do you think that was? Bobby asked. Was it her number? Alex began to get suspicious. I don't know, she said. After Rachel and the boy were done with their ice creams, they got up to leave. The boy giving Rachel his jacket. This shocked both Bobby and Alex. When they went by the counter, Bobby and Alex quickly turned to hide their faces, then watched the two walk out to the parking lot. What was that about? Asked Bobby. I don't know, but I don't think I like it, Alex replied, returning to his ice as she spotted the napkin Rachel wrote on at the table. But I may find out. He got up and walked toward the table. He nonchalantly scooped up the napkin and walked back to the table and reviewed it with his younger cousin. You were right, Bobby, said Alex. It is a number, and I think it's her number. We better go show Peter. A couple hours later, Alex, Peter and Jan returned to Alex's room to discuss who busted the window. I just don't understand, said Peter, looking at the napkin. At this time Alex felt it was right to tell him what went on in the ice cream parlor. I thought that we had a healthy relationship. At this point Bobby was in the room as Alex's witness. I know this is probably really hard on you, said Alex. Yeah, but I'm glad you told me, Peter replied. Peter, said January, can I see that napkin? Peter walked over and gave her the napkin. She studied it. A few moments later Jan felt a little unsteady. Peter, Alex, you might want to see this." They all rushed over, included Bobby, to see what was going on. "Rachel's handwriting, it looks exactly like the handwriting from the note with the brick," said January. "You don't believe it was really her, do you?" Alex asked. "Well, what I heard from what you and Bobby saw this afternoon, anything's possible." "Oh no," said Peter sadly. He walked over and sat on the bed. "I can't believe this." "I'm so sorry, Peter," said Alex, sitting next to him on the bed and placing his arm around him. "But the only way to find out is to confront her about it at school next week, but for now just enjoy the Thanksgiving week." Peter nodded. It was 4 days later. The family enjoyed a lavish Thanksgiving dinner. Alice and Carol really outdid themselves. The family were watching the Thanksgiving parade when the doorbell rang. Peter was the closest to the door. "I'll get it," he says. He opens the door and Rachel was standing there. "Happy Thanksgiving, Peter," she said as she plants a kiss on his cheek. Peter stands there, eyes downcasting. "What's the matter?" she asked. Peter looks back in the house. He doesn't care what Alex says, he's going to say what he feels. He steps onto the porch and closes the door behind him. "Rachel, we need to talk," said Peter. "Oh?" asked Rachel. "Yeah," replied Peter. "You see, my cousin, Alex, and my little brother, Bobby, saw you at the ice cream parlor the other day with a guy." "Oh," was all Rachel said, continuing to listen as Peter went on. "Yeah, and Alex and Bobby both said it looked like you were flirting with him, and he gave you his jacket and you gave him this," said Peter, pulling out the napkin out of his back pocket and giving it to Rachel. "Oh, Peter," Rachel said. "Oh, I'm so sorry, let me explain. You see, that was my cousin." "What?" Peter asked with confusion. "My cousin, his name is Eric Thomas, he lives in Arizona. I haven't seen him since I was a little kid. When he visited last," Rachel began. "He came here to visit this last 3 weeks, that was last day, and we wanted to keep in touch, so I gave him my number." "So, what about the jacket?" Peter asked. "He saw that I didn't bring a jacket, so on the way there and back he lent me his jacket," Rachel replied. "And I wasn't flirting, I don't know where your cousin got that from, I was just having a good time laughing and playing around, that's all." Peter's face brightened. "So wait, what about this?" he asked, pulling out the note that was tied to the brick. Rachel paused a moment to read it. "Oh, Peter, you wouldn't think I would do this, would you? I was hoping you wouldn't, but it looked so familiar with your handwriting." "No, see, whoever wrote this letter has a regular Y, I curl my Ys," Rachel said. "But you wouldn't have known that because there was no Ys on the napkin." "Oh, Peter, I'm so sorry for the confusion." "No," said Peter. "I'm sorry, I should have known better that you wouldn't do such a thing." An hour later Peter explained to the family, who were waiting in anticipation. "So that's the story," said Peter. "It was her cousin." "That's wonderful, Peter," Carol said with delight. "Yeah, I'm so happy, I don't even care that we didn't find out who threw the brick, just as long as she didn't," added Alex. A couple of days later the kids had to go back to school. Peter and Rachel walked to school together hand in hand, happy that their relationship is still healthy. Jan and Alex walked with them, laughing and talking with each other. When a kid Alex was unfamiliar with walked up to them. "Hey Brady," he said. "Did you get my note?" Jan looked at the boy with confusion. "Clark?" she asked. "Clark Tyson?" Peter and Alex looked at each other. "Clark Tyson?" they both asked with surprise. "Who's Clark Tyson?" asked Alex. Clark is the boy I used to have a crush on, Jan replied. Until he turned into a jerk. Yeah, and you can stay out of it with your mouth shut, Clark said. I'm over you now. Well, finally, Jan said, giving Clark a dirty look. Whoa, wait, Alex said, waving his hands. So you threw the brick into our window, telling me to go back to my home? That's right, Clark replied. A kid that I have never met before in my life? Alex asked. Well, yeah, replied Clark. Alex looked at him for a few seconds, studying him. He shrugged. "'Kay, just checkin'," and began to walk off. Wait, so you're not gonna do anything about it? Clark asked with confusion. That's right, replied Alex. But, why? Because my goal was to find out who did it, not to get revenge, Alex replied. I mean, now my uncle has to get a new window because of your anger on me for whatever reason, and that's pretty low of you. But hey, if you don't care, it isn't going to affect me. But don't you even want to ask him why? Jan asked. Alex shrugged. All in all, it's going to be the same, she said. Oh yeah? Clark asked. And what is that? I don't have an exact scenario, but here's what I do know, Alex began. For whatever reason I must have ticked you off, but from a distance because I'm pretty sure I never met you before in my life. And now whatever I did to cause you anger, grief or jealousy, you get so filled with so much of it you stoop down to that level to actually drive a brick into someone's window and potentially hurt one of my family. As Clark listened, as his eyes downcast. I bet you never thought of it like that, did you? Asked Alex. Someone could have been in there, maybe one of my little cousins, and your brick could have hit them in the head and badly injured them, or worse. Peter, Jan and Rachel looked at him with a bit of disgust. Even his buddies scurried away. Clark didn't say anything or look up. There was a long pause of silence. When the group was ready to leave, Clark decided to tell them why. I guess I did it because, he began. Everyone turned around to listen what sorry excuse it was. I loved you, Jan, and I thought the reason you didn't love me back was because of the new cousin telling you all sorts of bad things about me, and I was trying to scare her away. No, Clark, if you were listening to Alex before, you would have heard that she didn't know you before until just now, Jan stated. Clark's sympathy turned to a scowl. You think you're so smart, he said. This isn't over yet, Brady, he pointed his finger in Alex's face. Alex smirked. Oh really? He clutched his fist. Jan shut her eyes tight. This was going to be ugly. But instead of taking a whack at him, he released his grip and got in close so that they were so close Clark could smell Alex's strawberry lip gloss. Listen up, and listen well. If you ever pull a stunt like that again, or if you hurt anyone of my family, that goes for Jan, that goes for Peter, Bobby, Cindy, Greg, Marcia, my Uncle Mike and Aunt Carol. This even goes for my friends Rachel and Jason, Alex began. If you hurt one of them, I will hurt you back. If you run, I will chase after you. Are you threatening me? Clark asked. Unless you change your ways, Alex replied, and stepped back. I hope we can become friends, he said, patting his shoulder. Stay away from Jan, and walked off. I'm not afraid of you, Brady. I'm not afraid of no girl. Clark shouted. We'll see, Alex shouted back without turning to acknowledge him. He got over that quickly, Jan said with shock. Yeah, Peter added. Alex usually can't stay mad for too long. He's not a grudge holder, he snickered. A few weeks later. Alex woke up to a beautiful day, but he was not happy as he usually would be because today was the day he was leaving. He got out of his bed, his bare feet touching the cold flooring of her attic bedroom. He looked across the room and saw his bag sitting at the top of the steps and felt tears welling in his eyes. This may be the last time I'll see my cousins until graduation, he thought, and the girls, I was just getting to know them. He hugged himself, his fingers scratching at the silk of his nightgown. There was a knock on the door. "Come in," Alex said in a sad tone. It was Mike. "Just seeing if you're ready, we need to get going in 10 minutes, he said. "I'll get dressed really fast and I'll meet you down there, Uncle Mike," Alex said. "All right, when you're changed, I'll send the boys to help you get your stuff." Great, Alex thought, I can't wait. Alex slipped out of the nightgown and into a long shower. He stood under the steaming water for a long time, reminiscing over the last few months that he spent with his extended family. He had a lot of adventures and made some good friends. He was going to miss everyone. He had a floral print pullover dress laid out for the ride home. It was too cheery for how he felt, so he stuffed it in one of his bags. Squatting over one of his suitcases in a white bra and panties, he fished out a red polyester skirt and print blouse. He put on the matching jacket and neatly folded the blouse collar over the lapel. Slipping on a pair of red heels, he looked at himself in the mirror and exhaled a deep sigh. The boys let themselves in and helped grab the rest of his luggage and threw it in the car. Everyone went to the airport. It took 2 separate cars because of the luggage. Everyone waited for Alex's parents, but secretly wished they never would come. Their wish obviously did not come true, as Alex's mom and dad were in sight. "Mom! Dad!" Alex yelled, walking up to give them each hugs. "Alex!" "Oh, it's so good to see you," said Mark. "How was your trip?" Alex asked. "Oh, wonderful," Mark replied. "Australia was beautiful." "How was your time with your cousins?" "Wonderful," Alex said. "I wish I didn't have to leave." "Well, we should get out here again soon," Mark said. He saw Mike and smiled. "Mike!" "Hey brother," Mike said with a smile, giving his brother a hug. "Carol!" Mark exclaimed, turning to give Carol a hug. "Hey! My favorite nephews!" Mark said, waving to Greg, Peter, and Bobby. "Hi Uncle Mark," Greg, Peter, and Bobby said with a fake smile. They weren't so happy to see him this time. And Mark knew why. "Can I just say goodbye to everyone first?" Alex asked. "Sure, take your time." Mark replied. Alex walked up to Mike first. "Uncle Mike," she began. "You're such a wonderful uncle, my favorite in fact, and my mom has a lot of brothers. And I'm gonna miss you very much, you're real groovy for an older guy." Mike smiled and chuckled at his twisted compliment. "I'm going to miss you too, Alex." They gave each other a hug and Alex moved to Carol. "Aunt Carol," Alex began. "Hey, I called you Aunt for the first time. When I met you, I could tell you were a nice and super cool lady. And even though I've known you for only a short time, I believe you to be my favorite aunt. You were the first person to see me as I really am, and I'll never forget it." Carol chuckled and tears began to well in her eyes, and they began to fall when she embraced her. Alex made her down the line to Greg. "Greg," Alex said, "big cousin Greg, or more like big brother Greg. Because you'll always be like a brother to me. I know I can always rely on you for anything. I'm gonna miss you so much." "I'll miss you very much, little sis," he said. Alex beamed and let out a quick sob. He moved on down to Peter. "Peter, Peter, Peter," Alex said with a chuckle. "Oh, the conversations we had, the laughs we shared. The mystery we broke. That was a lot of fun, really. You truly are like my blood brother, my twin. I will miss you very much." They embraced. "I'll write you every day," Peter said, "send pictures and everything, so we still can grow older together." Alex moved to Bobby, and couldn't help but crack up. Bobby, little C, I'm sorry, little brother Bobby. You always know how to cheer me up, and you play some mean basketball. I'm not sure how much money I lost playing against you. But I have only but 10 last words for you, me, rematch. Next time. $5. Winner takes all. Will do, Bobby said with a grin, giving Alex a hug. Alex planted a big kiss on his cheek, leaving a bright red image of his lips. Bobby grimaced and wiped at his cheek. Yuck! Everyone laughed, and Alex wiped at his eye. He moved to the girls now. Marcia was first. Marcia, Alex said with a smile, beautiful Marcia, so much fun hanging out with you. I only wish we had a little more time to get to know each other. But the time we shared was priceless. I'm gonna miss you, sis. Oh, Alex, Marcia said, hugging him, I'll miss you too. Moving on to Jan, Alex noticed she also had tears in her eyes. Jan, Alex said, the first time we met, I felt like we hit it off. We connected with each other so well. I feel like you're the closest I got to during this trip, and we'll be sisters for life. So, keep in touch? Jan and Alex embraced. I'll keep in touch, I'll write every day as well, send pictures, like Peter. I'll miss you so much, you're the coolest cousin ever. Alex then moved to Cindy. Aw, little Cindy, so full of spunk for a little thing. You're so cute, and smart, awesome and friendly. I liked you from the very beginning. I hope I'm just like you when I grow up, he said, laughing through his tears. Same here, Cindy said, jumping up to hug Alex. Alex finally moved to Alice. And last but not least, Alice, said Alex, you're the coolest and funniest woman I've ever met. You always had great advice and great cookies. I'm gonna miss you as well. Alice was the third person to tear up as she hugged Alex. Now get out of here, she said, turning to wipe her eyes. Ready to go? Mark asked Alex. Alex looked at the 9 people that stood before her, everyone looking at Alex with sad expressions. It made Alex start to tear up, even though he was extremely happy to see his parents, but he didn't have any brothers or sisters. And now he felt that he did, he filled that little emptiness on this trip. But now that emptiness that was filled, it began to drain again, a part of him will always stay with them. And then it dawned on him. Alex shook his head. No, he said, turning to his parents. No, I'm not. Well, Mark said, you have 5 minutes, so try to be ready before then. No, Dad, I'm saying, if it's okay with Uncle Mike and Aunt Carol, I would like to stay with them a little longer. How much longer are you intending to stay? Throughout high school, maybe? Mark and Mike were both left speechless. Carol, Alice, and the kids looked at them with hope. Well, Alex, that's a big decision, Mark said, and we'll miss you like crazy. I mean, we haven't seen you for almost a whole year. Well, I can spend summers with you guys, Alex said, like this summer. And then I'll go live with them during the school year. I've made so many friends at Fillmore, more friends than in New York, where I only had 2. There was a long pause. All right, as long as you write every day, Mark said with a smile, if that's okay with you, Mike. Oh, we'd be more than happy to have him, right, gang? Mike asked. Everyone cheered. I guess it's settled then, everyone would love to have Alex here. All right, Alex, come with us this summer, and you can come back during the school year, Mark said. Alex jumped and clapped. It seemed like everything ended up happily after all. But he never knew he would have such a big impact on everybody. I guess there really is a new Brady in the bunch.